Hey guys, this is the second time I'm making this video, but I wanted to make a video talking about Prime Monster and my experience with it so far. So, as you can see here, I played a little bit of the game. I think I'm on several runs right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. About 9 runs, but some of them I just hit the new game button to select a different character. When making when you know probably around 20 or so runs I probably have done. Probably not all the way through though. Most of them, only probably 9 of them all the way through. So take it as you will. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the game here because I think you know because of all things, this game I really like it. It's a real good game. I like the aesthetic. I like playing it. I like stuff, but of course, with stuff that you like, there's also stuff you dislike. So I want to talk about some of the changes that I would make to Prime Monster. Um, Now, some of these changes are not going to be um, unknown. There are some things that I am going to say. Why is my mouse disappearing? Oh, there we go. Now, there's some things I'm going to say, right, that are not too, you know, that are well known that I've seen people talking about, right? But other things are just personal preferences, stuff like that. So why don't we just go down the line here? First things first, Mr. Chopper Badstone, the face character of the game. Now, Chopper, I think, is the best character, right? So let's just go over really quickly about Mr. Chomper Badstone here, right? His party is the Orcs for You party, and it's basically a party where we're going to be doing a huge unity rush. So with our power here of Harness Anger, we need two things. We need things that give us very high unity, and we need things that attack our character. And those are two things that, as you've seen from my series, playing as Mr. Chomper Badstone, we did really well with. So if we go here, right at the end we got Draw Strength, which is really good. But as you can see from kind of the cards that I upgraded, actually Savage I did, right, I still kind of focused on attacking and stuff like that. And even though, right, I think from our final victory here, right, it's the lowest that I had. Even I think lowest I had, even from Sucksworth and or Tilt. Well, we haven't gotten there yet for the very hardest difficulty, but it it it, it was a win, but it didn't feel like one, and it's because it felt like I didn't go all in on the unity rushing and stuff like that. I feel like if I did go all in on just solely doing unity, right, I would be a lot better. After that series, thinking about it. So, that's kind of what the character is. It's basically a unity rush because of his power of Harness Anger. That's what you're targeting. And so the only real gripe that I have is that we have Crude Attack here, which Crude Attack it deals 4 damage. Now I understand the idea is that because he's the introduction character, you want to show off all your parts, and I think he does that fine. He does. You know what? I would actually say there's no changes I would make. Now, from our series, right? If I was to give you guys some little help here, right? I would say you need to get either Provoke or you need to get Goad. Let me see if I can find any of them real quick. Yeah, here we go. I would either get Goad here, right? Or I would get Provoke, which doesn't seem to be a card I have here. So let me go to, no? Go, Provoke. Here we go. I would get one of those two. Actually, no, they're both here, so I'll choose this one. So either Goad or Provoke. I would say one of those two are ones that you have to get. Because you have to, as I said, with Harness Anger, right? You need the opponent to attack you, and these are two ways just to make it that your opponent's attacking you consistently. Another one that's really good is Lose Control. That one's really, really good to get as well. So with those three as a combo, right, we're gonna get a lot of unity. You're gonna get either attacked losing unity, stuff like that. Basically, all of those charge harness anger. So because of that, that's a really good thing to get. Um, and so because of that, right? Uh, 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 I feel like he's a really good rounded character. The only thing I would change is something that's so minor that I don't care about it getting changed. Um, I think he is exactly what you want your characters to be. Um, if I were to give you some advice, for playing, I would say focus on getting frenzied. Frenzied is getting your characters frenzied and getting yourself shields, right? Because you want to be attacked, but when you're attacked, you lose unity. So when you lose unity, right, you lose votes in Parliament. So because of that, right, with Frenzy, your Unity cards are going to be stronger, so you're going to get back up to those people voting for you faster, but also with defending, you still get the benefits of them attacking you to harness anger, but, right, you don't take the Unity hit. So I would say that those would be those are two other things to focus on. So the two main ones is getting high Unity, and the other one is getting high Unity and getting a way for your opponent to attack you consistently. And then for the other two minor things, right, is getting frenzied, right, and getting some sort of defense. Let me see. I think they call it defending. Getting defending on your cards. So those are the two top ones, and then the two minor ones I would focus on. Now let's go over to Sucksworth. Sucksworth at the start, I didn't really like him. Right? It was a bit of a learning curve, but I promise you, Sucksworth is, I think, probably the best. The strongest, I would say. Now, what I mean by strongest is he starts off weaker than Chopper, but at the end, he's stronger. As long as you build it correctly. So with Chopper, you're doing a unity rush, so you're not really attacking the opponent too much. You are attacking through Harness Anger, right? But there's not really that push to be hitting him all the time, right? With Chopper, even though he's an orc, which it seems to be kind of like aggressive and stuff, but I don't want to say anything about it. I really like the character. I like his design, stuff like that. With Sucksworth, and I kind of get, I would say also, by the way, I get the idea that he's not going to be attacking because your attacking character is a freaking vampire. Okay? That just makes sense, right? And Sucksworth here is probably the best at attacking. So let's look at it logically, right? So Sucksworth here starts off with only 5 ministers, 5 monsters, which is weaker. He's weaker than Chopper. And his attack here, it's okay. Pander, I honestly, you could just get rid of Pander. I would never. I think from our series, you see, the only times I play Pander is when we were getting an achievement, which was to get all the ministers to vote for you. Pander, right, does not seem necessary. I would honestly replace this card with another attacking card. If I was designing this game, I would take Pander out. Though, this is something interesting. I don't know if I would, though. What I just said was so dumb. What did I just say? No, I would take it out for the purpose of taking it out. But here's the thing, is that there is time from time you do need unity. So I understand the reason why it's here, but what I think is it should be a tactic that you, from the random 3 that you get. I think it should be that kind of tactic. It should not be the type of tactic that you get to start off with, because it just makes Sucksworth a whole lot weaker than he really should be. If both of these were attacking, like if I were to go to my record book, right, he would be a lot stronger. Though I think that's kind of the reason. Maybe double tap, probably. I think double tap might be probably the best to replace it with. To just have deal and then double tap attack twice. That one's not going straight to the character. Maybe leave a mark. One of these two probably is the other one, though. I would say backbite, keep that one, and then double tap, leave a mark, and then you can replace it with other cards. Now if we were to go back in, right, I would say at the very beginning of the game, when you're deciding here, who's the strongest? Chopper. Facing off against the prime monster when you're the opposition, who's stronger? Chopper. First term, Chopper. Second term, Chopper. Third term, though, I would say Sexworth. And if you've seen from my video, right, you can kind of get the idea, is that Sexworth is a character that you have to build up. Is that he's weak at the start, but he gets stronger by the end. And that's kind of like a vampire kind of idea, right? And so I kind of like that idea. Is that orcs aren't going to get stronger, as they go. They're already super strong. So, right, they get stronger as the game goes on, right? They get stronger as their life goes on, vampires, right? So because of that, right, I really like him as a character. And especially on that fourth one, I at one point got 300 damage a turn on the enemy, right? So he's very, very strong. It's very easy to build up momentum, right? And I understand why the decisions have been made to start him off weaker at the beginning, because he needs to be able to build up. He needs that momentum. And, it makes it more fun when you have to do it through there. In fact, if we look at his cards, right, they are kind of similar to Chopper's in the sense that, right, in the sense that they kind of have they kind of are like mirrors of each other. Rather than having Frenzy, we have Bloodthirsty, which increases damage. Rather than Unity, we have Bat Form. I don't remember I don't think that there was a card like this for Chopper. But actually no, Drumming, but it's not a card. So I would say that he's a lot better at the end, because you can actually upgrade these cards. I think these ones turn to 10 damage. Some of these you can get Bloodthirsty to 2 of them, so you can have 4 Bloodthirsty cards. Really good. Sadly, Bat's not upgradable. We get 2 different Bats, but that makes sense because Bats don't vote. You don't want to remove all your voters. I don't know anyone that would choose that. Although I got Earn Your Wings as one, so that's pretty. Oh, actually, no. So yeah, it was Earn Your Wings. It was a pretty good card. Or tactic. But anyway, so yeah, Sexworth, right? If he is that, I don't like him. There's a few, or I like him. There's a few design decisions I don't like, but I understand why they were made, and so because of that, I would leave him untouched. I would leave Chopper untouched. Dramatic pause. I know. Rotilda, right? Rotilda. Rotilla. This character needs to be changed. Now, this is something that is not unique to me. On Steam, which is the discussion board post place that I found, this is something that I believe, is necessary for the game. If we were to go there right now, this is my Steam page. But this is made by a guy named Yellow Belly. And you can see they want modding capabilities. That's a pretty good one. I actually like the idea of that, right? Being able to put in your own game, stuff like that. Though I doubt this might come. Because if you don't build in the ability to have mods in your game, then it's a lot harder to do that. I suppose you could have in here, but whatever. But the big 3: mods, more content, because obviously we want more content. What does that say right there? Why don't you read that? Read that out loud. Now, read it out loud. I played a few rounds with her, and as you can see, there's only one that I completed. it's because it's so infuriating to play her as a character. It's just, I don't know how else to describe it. It's just infuriating. Let's go back to the game so you can look at it. If I'm, you know what, let me do a little run here. I'll do the first two here, and then we'll go general election. You'll see that it's not fun. And what I mean by that is that what I mean by that is that it's just not, her cards are weak. She has more of them, and her traits are weak. Not to mention her ability, politically charged, is the worst out of the three. So there's harness anger, there's quick thinking, and then there's politically charged. If I were to rank them, I would say quick thinking is the best because you can do a lot of damage, and if you build your deck around that, then you're doing real good. I would say charge or harness anger is also, but again, it's like the same thing as we talked about before. Harness anger is a lot better at the beginning, whereas quick thinking is better at the end. Quick thinking takes a lot longer to charge, so take that as you will. Consistently, I would say politically charged is 4th place out of 3. I would rather not have this ability because I don't know the purpose of this ability. What does it do for me? What does it do? It says all dead MPs get 1 horde and become animated. No. Animated sucks. Right? I understand the purpose of animated, but it can't be your ability. Because if your ability is animated, right, which it is here, right, when you get into the game, it doesn't work. Now, I don't mean to say that it's a bug that it doesn't work. I mean that it just doesn't feel fun to play with. Now, I understand animated, and I understand that there's and I've played it where there are cards that negate animated and keep the card alive. But the fact of the matter is you don't start off with that. And so because of that, I have to judge it. I'm judging it by how it begins. And if you have a tactic that comes in later, right? Like with Goad and Provoke that we talked with Chopper about, right? If you have a tactic that comes in later, I can't really talk about it as, oh, well, yeah, you just have this tactic, and then boop, 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 boop. I talked about those tactics, and I said, oh, yeah, they're something that you need, that you want, right? But I didn't say them as the main focus. Your characters as Rotilla, or whatever her name is, right, are dying all the time. Every hand, they die. So what happens when one of your dead MPs that you need that are voting for you is dead? Can you revive them? You have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 20 chance. 6 out of 20. Now again, there are tactics, or should I say, a tactic that revives them. I guess you can count, even if we were to count the dirty trick cards, which could make you, which have a 1 in 6 chance of getting you, of losing you that revived person, because the Shrieker could check, and at a 1 in 6, just get rid of one of them, right? It just doesn't feel fun, right? To have these cards die that you can't control. What I would say is that it should go by, it should either go in an order, which we can see, or if you have these cards that are dying, that I'm saying, they either have to go in an order, or we control which ones die. Now, in that sense, what I would mean is that we get to pick and choose. Though, if I had to choose one or the other, even though the second one gives me more control, I would not want that one. I would say we want it to be in a controlled manner. And the controlled manner is that it would first be killing off. What am I saying? I would want it to be that it's killing off characters in some sort of order, whether that be just going from top to bottom here. So we kill off this character, this character, this character, this character, and then if we revive this one, either jumping back here to kill him and then keep going, or kill this one, this one, this one, just keep going down the line. That one is one way we could do it. The other way that I was thinking of an order is saying we kill this one, we kill this one, we kill this one, we kill this one, right? And if this one starts voting in opposition, next turn we kill him. But the reason why I don't like that one, even though that one seems a little bit more gamey, it looks kind of cool, right? Is because what if these two die and then you have no votes? Because we can't revive the characters. You need to be able to revive the characters. Now you might be going, oh, but Jacob, these tactics, they say revive, 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 revive. They're random. It's randomly revived. And this is my main gripe, is you can't have these be random. You need a way to control who's being alive and who's being dead, right? Even if it's just one. Even if it was these two right here, revive up to 2 dead MPs. This is still random. This is still random. This is still random. I sound angry, but I'm just upset, is that it can't be randomized. You can't have it just be RNG based. What's the point of playing this character then? If it's all RNG, if we win or lose, it doesn't feel fun. Why not I just flip a coin? Get what I'm saying? I would say is that this revive 1 dead MP needs to be the same as this stun, right? Is that we revive him and we get to pick who gets revived. That makes more sense to me. Because even though, right, she's the leader of the party, right? She's the leader of the zombified people's movement, right? So she gets to pick who gets revived. And on that front, if you do that, then you can just get rid of the order of people dying, or us picking who dies. You can just have that randomized. But if we get to pick who gets revived, that gets a lot better. That gets a lot better, rather than just having it randomly we lose for no reason of our own control. Now, again, what would I do? What I would say is, if you wanted, here's another thing. Is that in this game, right? Anytime you play a card, it then gets discarded. And then if you discard all your cards, it all comes back. Now, have you noticed anything that I said that's wrong? Here, I'll give you a look through. Here, right? All your dead MPs get 1 horde animated. After that, they go dead again. Over here, they get whipped, which means they get, you roll, and they might vote for you. Otherwise, they get whipped, which they add 1 to their next roll of whipped. We deal 3 damage. You know my complaint about reviving 1 dead MP. You have a 6 out of 20 chance of getting a card. So what happens when the only cards that are dead, or only MPs that are dead, are not voting for you? Well, now you have a card where you're reviving a MP that you have no use for, right? If you look, she has 8 MPs, which I believe is more than Chopper. He has 2, right? So a majority of your cards aren't going to be voting for you. So imagine if you got right at the start, you got Berate, you got Raise Up, and you got Chivik. And 1 card is dead. Dramatic effect, right? Well, I guess you play one of them to revive the dead person, right? Next turn, it's going to be, let's see, 20, 19. So you have now a 3 out of 17, which is way bad odds. What if you got then Berate again, you got Raise Up again, and you got Chivik again? Then, no matter what you do for the rest of the game, you're going to have cards dying left and right, and you can't do anything about them. So what if he dies the first turn, he dies the second turn, he dies the third turn, and you got those 6 cards right at the beginning? Right? Right? You revived one, you revived another one on the next turn. He doesn't have any cards, and he will never be revived. Because how the heck do you get through 20 cards to redo the deck? So here's what I would change. Okay. I'm needing the. Here's my change. Let's go to my successful one here. First one should be late MPs. Right? This tactic should be Tactic 101. It should be Tactic 1. Late MP should be 2 dead MPs. Because that just makes sense. Because to me, at least, it makes sense that there is dead MPs. There is dead people that are for the zombies. And that makes sense to me because as the game will go on, or as the rounds in the vote go on, right, you're going to have more and more zombies. Which just, to me, makes sense for zombies, right? Zombies work the best in big hordes of people, right? So having 8, but having 16, right? Even if some of them are not voting for you, right? That's going to be a lot more powerful. So I would say late MPs needs to be the first slot, okay? Now, the other one I would pick is Wake Up Call. And now I would change Wake Up Call a little bit, because I believe Wake Up Call is 1 cost. I would change it to 3. And I would make it 1 of 1. You can only use it once per turn. So because of that, right? If you want to use Wake Up Call to revive the MP that just died, that's basically all you're doing. That's basically your whole turn, right? And so because of that, right, now you have you're using your late MPs, you're bringing them back, and then any of them that die that you don't want dead, you have the automatic ability to revive them. And then, right, that'll start you off pretty slow because, you know, you don't really have an ability to, like, to deal damage or stuff like that. So you're starting even lower than Sucksworth, right? But the idea that I have, right, is that with things like Hold That Thought, your cards being upgraded, stuff like that, if you can build up just a tiny little bit in the beginning here, you can start a run. So I would say here, right, you would want Rotilla to be really strong right at the end. And because that's what zombies do, is that over time. Well, I would say, and over time in this deck, I really did make it work. There was, like, right in the middle here, somewhere in the middle, I was having a little bit of fun. I won't lie. But the problem with that is that it came after I had to, like, really rip or tear at this deck. And the biggest problem I had is that there wasn't really any consistent way to revive cards, to get the ones that I need. It was very RNG based, very randomly number generated. There's multiple times where I would just quit the match and then just restart because I was like, screw it, I don't want to play this. So even though I did win this, it didn't feel earned because I just kept quitting until I got the one I wanted. Right? This just should be what animated is. It should just be a tactic. Okay? It should be a tactic. What I would say is another change, right? Actually, you know what? What I would do, honestly, actually, no. Make Wake Up Call, right, the tactic. Make the Wake Up Call the power, the special power. Is that rather than reviving 1, you revive all dead MPs. And what I would replace it with is, what I have is late MPs are dead, and then I would have a tactic that added the horde into onto all dead cards, or into one of the dead cards, right? So this one would be late MPs. This one would be one that adds horde to them. So maybe make politically charged the tactic, and then I would make this tactic change. So, charges when you receive a dead party MP. What I mean by that is that when a card dies, it then charges this. Now, it only charges, and so when you get the late MPs, that charges it. When you get, and so I would also have late MPs be 1. You only get 1 dead, right? So that you can't just spam it and then get like 4, 6, whatever. Though the upgraded version would give you 2. So you charge by having dead MPs. So this would entice you to have dead cards and trying to get as many of them as dead so you can charge this up. Then what I would do is I would have it be that all of those cards then is that then we would do this, is that all dead MPs get 1 horde and they are revived. And so then, and if you're worried about balance, if you're worried about that being really, really strong, I would just raise this up to where Sucksworth's is, which is like 24. So it becomes, the thing about that is that it then becomes maybe too rare. So then it comes back to the cards. Now, how would I handle this? Deck building. I would have these as cards in the deck, and you can have as many of these of one of these as possible, but these are the ones you're only allowed to choose from. So you have Rate, Gold, and then you can upgrade 1, and then, you know, build it out. Kind of like in Inscription, right? Where you can put as many as 1, or Inscription's Act 2, where you can put as many as one set of card as you want, but, right? You know, the upgraded ones you have to kind of you only get as many upgraded cards as you want. But yeah, you get the idea. So like kind of like that kind of deck building, like in Inscription Act 2, I would say is probably the best. Because honestly, there's no purpose for me for playing. I didn't play Dirty Trick cards. Dirty Trick cards should be really strong, and these seem just weaker, just weak. They seem like versions that are a little bit better of stun, but like I don't like them because like with the Shrieker, right? 1 in 6 chance of just nullifying revive, and so then you just deal 5 damage, which is just 2 more than this one, and you knocked out an MP. Which, if that MP is voting for your opponent, you just guaranteed them 1 vote. So she needs an upgrade because she's just too weak. And sure, you can make her stronger, right? But I would never pick her, even if you had the perfect deck. I would say maybe at the end she could jump Chopper, but there's never a point where she's the strongest, and that's the problem. Is that there's no real way I can think of to build her to be the strongest, to beat Vitsworth or Chopper at any given moment. If she's able to beat both at some point, then yeah, she'd be a great character. But she's not able to. Okay, so this video's gone on for a little while. I've rambled on. I love this game. And I want to say that all this criticism and all the stuff that I've said comes from a place of love, right? The 0.1 patch came out, and I saw a lot of changes were made, and it seems like they generally know where to focus on, from how I read, right? Not a lot of changes to Chopper. Well, there were some, I'm actually looking at it right now, quite a bit of changes to Chopper, right? To Chopper's abilities. Sucksworth got a little bit of changes, not really that much, right? I'd imagine Chopper got big changes because that's your main character. You don't want a lot of adjusted stuff, just feeling it out. I mean, the game just came out, so you know, feel it out. Sucksworth seems to be about at the place that you want. Rotilla got so many adjustments, so many changes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. She got quite a bit of changes, and I think she she just needs more changes. She needs more changes to be more consistent. Because, you know, you can go RNG based, but it's hard to accept that. Okay, I think this video has gone on for long enough. So, I will let you know when maybe point 2 comes out, and we can talk about we can then talk about what changes happen then, and if we're happy and stuff like that. But until then, I've been Potato Gaming. This has been my YouTube channel, and if you like the video, please leave a like. If you subscribe, please subscribe. And I'll talk to you later. Alright. Bye!